In the previous class, we were discussing about the nomenclature of coordination compounds. Okay, coordinate compounds. Here we will discuss the further part. So in the last class we discussed some 3 rules of this UPAC naming. That is, first was you have to name the compound cation first followed by the anion. Okay, so there will be 2 ions. First you have to write the cation followed by the anion. If you enter the coordination sphere, you have to name first the ligand followed by the central metal atom. Okay, so if there is only one ligand, there is no issue. If there are more than one ligands, then you have to name the ligands in the alphabetical order. Okay, so you have to write the name of that UPAC, the name of the ligands or the name of the compound in small letters without any interruptions. Okay, so that whole UPAC name should be 1. So we discussed these things in the last class. So let us further move with some more points. So if you see here, these 3 and these 3 compounds, if you differentiate here, these 3 compounds, these 2 and this compound. Okay, so let us discuss or let us compare these two and these 3 are quite similar, because here we have cations as the counter ions and here we have anions as the counter ions. Okay, so if anions are present, then the coordination sphere is cationic, and if the cation is present, then this coordination sphere is anionic. So here, if you will name this compound, please see. First cation followed by the anion. So we are entering into coordination sphere. So here you have more than one ligand. So you have to take that ligand first, which is having the alphabetical order. Okay. So here it is the amine, it is aqua group. Both are amine, aqua, starts with A only. So you have to know the second alphabet. AA, amine, AM, aqua, AQ. So which comes first? Obviously AM, amine. So we have to take this. So there are 4 amine groups. So it is tetraamine. There is only one water group, that is aqua, only aqua. You won't write any mono, something like that. Only aqua you will write. Clear? So if you come here, there are 3 ligands. One is amine, one is aqua, another one is chlorine. So it is very simple. Here you have 4 amine, aqua, dichlorine. There are 2 chlorine groups. Next, if you come here, bromo and amine, pentaamine, bromo. So now, after naming the ligands, you will come to the central metal atom. Okay, if this central metal atom is having the charge, that charge is written in the Roman number. Okay, so how you will calculate the charge? We know that which are the neutral ligands, which are the negative ligand, which are the positive ligand. Here, most of the time we get negative or neutral ligand, positive are very less. Okay, so hence there are 2 Cl. So Cl, each Cl will be having 1 anion. There are 2 anions, that's it. And 1 is outside. So you have 3 anions which is satisfied by the central metal atom, that is 3 plus charge. Okay, if you go here, there are 3 Cl as a counter ions, so you will have minus charge. So hence you will have the cobalt in which oxidation state. So let's name this tetraamine. All should be small letter and continued one. Tetraamine, aqua, then you have cobalt, 3 chloride. So if you are different, but the molecular formula is same. Hence, you will have the isomers here. So, this isomers are removed from your syllabus for this year. It is a deducted part. Okay. So, we will discuss these things in the CET class. So, here tetraamine aqua dichloro cobalt 3 chloride. So, let's write tetraamine aqua dichloro. Sometimes you will write chloro or chlorido. Both are same. Please don't be confused. Dichloro cobalt 3 chloride. I think this is clear to you. Next, here pentamine bromo cobalt SO4 will be having 2 minus charge, Br will be having only 1 minus charge. That leaves again 3 cobalt, 3 sulfate. Okay. See, if the coordinate sphere is cationic, you will write the name of central metal atom as is. The changes comes when the coordination sphere is anion. When the coordination sphere is anion, the central metal atom will be ended with ATE as its suffix. Clear? Because we have counter ion as a cation, definitely coordination sphere becomes anionic. So name this compound now, that is potassium amine, pentachloro, If this is the anion, then you would have written the platinum complex. Now this is anion complex. So you have to write platinate. It should be ended with ATE. Platinate. The oxidation state of that particular metal atom should be written in the Roman number. So 5Cl charge will be -5. Satisfied. 1 Cl will be satisfied by 1 K. Remaining are 4. Okay. Amine is a neutral ligand, so it won't have any charge. So here platinate 4 ion is the answer. Why we have written ion there? Because it will be having charge 4 minus. Clear? Yes. Next, can you name this compound now? Potassium trioxalato ferrate. You have to write the charge. Now, this is the bidentate ligand. So, each oxalate ion gives 2 pair of electrons to the central metal atom. Here, it was giving only 1. So, this is having the charge 2 minus. Each oxalate ion is having 2 minus charge, and there are 3 oxalate ions. There will be 6 pair of electrons. So, hence, 3 will be satisfied by this potassium, then remains 3 on the ferrate. So, how to write? That is potassium trioxalato ferrate Clear? Going with the last one, that is, this is the central metal atom. There are 3 ligands and 1 is counter ion. So now tell me the sphere, the coordination sphere, whether it is anionic or cationic. Definitely cationic, because we have NO3. NO3 minus charge. This is nitrate ion. Okay. So now, can you name this compound? Yes. Tetraamine we have, aqua, bromo. Then these two are alphabet having A, and this is bromine B. That is tetraamine, aqua, bromo. Then the name starts. Clear? Right? Tetraamine. So tetramine, aqua, bromo, cobalt. Can you give the oxidation state of cobalt? This is a neutral, leave it. H2O neutral, leave it. This is Br having 1 minus charge. NO3 will be having 1 minus charge. There are 2 NO3 molecules. So 2 plus 1. Cobalt will be having which oxidation state? That is 3 nitrate. Cobalt 3 nitrate compound. I think this is clear to you all now. Okay. So these are the few more examples which describes the nomenclature of the coordination compounds. So we saw the coordinate bond, how the coordinate bond is present in coordination compounds. Now we will describe how that bonding takes place. Okay. So इदार्में actual इरोदर topic अथवा concept ये नहीं था पांडव isomerism, but that is be retained, like it is discarded from your syllabus. So we will directly move to the VBT, valence bond theory. So VBT explains how the bonding in this particular compounds takes place. So with 4 compounds, you can easily give the bonding between the coordination compounds. So here you will see the hybridization of these coordination compounds. So already we have discussed these things in the chemical bonding chapter of your first year. Okay, BSCPR theory, VBT theory. So we have discussed even the hybridization. There sp, sp2, sp3 hybridization with the structures we studied. Here valence bond theory. So which all orbitals will be participating in this VBT or in these particular compounds we will discuss here. The coordination number, hybridization, and the structure. If 4, 6, these two coordination number if you have, the hybridization may be sp3 or sp2 hybridization. Okay, so sp3 hybridization leads to tetrahedral structure. Tetrahedral. If sp2 hybridization, if you will see, it will give you square planar structure. Hope it is clear to you. Now, if you have the coordination number of 6, most of the time you will get these complexes having the coordination number 4 or 6. If there are 6, then there is possibility of having two types of hybridization, D2sp3 hybridization or sp3d2 hybridization. So these two will lead to octahedral geometry. Hope this is clear. Equal D2sp3, sp3d2. What is the difference here? So sp3d2 का d2sp3 का in difference है. Here, if you have sp3, there are 4 orbitals. 1 of s and 3 of p orbitals are involved in the hybridization. And dsp2, d, that is 1 d orbital s, 1 s orbital, 2 p orbitals are involved in the hybridization. Here there are 2 d orbitals, 1 s orbital and 3 p orbitals are involved in the D2sp3 hybridization. Similarly, sp3d2, 1 s, 3 p and 2 p orbitals are involved. See, what is the difference here? Both possessing the octahedral geometry. And what is the problem with D2sp3 and sp3d2? You might have the question. Correct. So please remember, this d is n minus 1 d here, whereas this d is outer orbital d. Okay. So here the hybridization takes place in n minus 1 d, n s, n p orbital, or here n s, n p, n d orbitals. For example, if n belongs to 4, then 4s, 4p, 3d orbitals are involved in the D2sp3 hybridization, whereas 4s, 4p and 4d orbitals are involved in sp3d2 hybridization. So this is the main difference between D2sp3 and sp3d2 hybridization. Hope this is understood. So here you have some of the examples which will explain the hybridization by VBG concept. Okay. So here you have hexaamine cobalt 3 complex, hexa fluoro cobalt 3 complex, tetra fluoro nickel 2 complex and tetracyano nickel 2 complex. Here if you will observe, there are 2 types of ligands. One is nitrogen containing ligand and 2 are halogen containing ligands. Please remember, the nitrogen containing ligands exhibits the low spin complexes. Okay, so hence they are strong field ligands. Strong field iruddrinda, it is having or it exhibits inner d orbitals, whereas these halogens are the low, that is weak field ligands, hence these exhibits the outer d orbital. Pairing doesn't take place. That is why they are paramagnetic in nature. Here these are strong field ligand, pairing takes place. Hence it involves inner d orbitals and these are the low spin complexes with diamagnetic nature. So this hexaamine cobalt 3 complex exhibits D2sp3 hybridization, which is having the octahedral structure because it involves inner d orbitals with a low spin complex which is diamagnetic in nature. Whereas this hexafluorocobalt-3 complex, this is exhibiting the sp3d2 hybridization, which is octahedral in structure because it involves outer d orbitals, high spin complex with paramagnetic nature. And this tetrachloronickel 2 complex exhibits sp3 hybridization. You know sp3 hybridization, then there must be tetrahedral geometry because here it won't have any d orbital, but it is a high spin complex, okay, and it is paramagnetic in nature. Here, please remember these two here, these are the weak field ligands. Why these are weak field ligands? Because these are the halogens. Please remember, this concept will be clear in crystal field theory. You will learn it, CFT, crystal field theory. There, why these halogen containing ligands are weak field, why these nitrogen containing ligands are strong field, you will come to know. Okay, so tetracyanonickel 2 complex exhibits sp2 hybridization, which is square planar in structure because it involves inner d orbitals, and exhibits low spin complex which is diamagnetic in nature, and these are the strong field ligands. Nitrogen containing ligands are the strong field ligands. So here one by one let us discuss. So first we will discuss about the hexaamine cobalt complex. Already we know the features here. As we know, cobalt is in +3 oxidation state. If you will go through the ground state electronic configuration of cobalt, it is cobalt exhibits iron, nickel, cobalt. So 27 is its atomic number. So 2 of s electron and 7 of p electrons. So now what happens in the excited state? So now electronic configuration. So cobalt is in +3 oxidation state. Please don't write both the things as capital. It becomes carbonyl. Okay. So now this will give you +3 in the sense what? 3 electrons should be removed. So outermost 2 electrons along with 1 electron is removed. So here, now don't think, we will write it here. So this is the excited state electronic configuration of cobalt 3+. So now, as you know, D2sp3 hybridization takes place. So inner d orbitals are involved in the hybridization. It is a low spin complex. So here we have nitrogen containing ligand, which means it is a strong field ligand. Because of strong field, what happens? The unpaired electrons get paired. So hence here D2sp3 hybridization. In the D2sp3 hybridization, remember here I'll write 4 p orbitals. These 2 electrons will be shifted here. The pairing takes place. Okay. Remaining these 2 and these 4. 2 of d orbitals, 1 of s orbital. 3 of p orbitals gets hybridized to give you d2sp3 hybridization. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is d2sp3 hybridization. Please see, I will remove this because you should not get confused here. These are not hybrid orbitals. They will be separated. So these 3 orbitals remains as it is. These 2 of d orbitals involved in the hybridization giving d2sp3 hybridization. Now these hybrid orbitals are filled by 6 NH3. NH3 is the ligand. There are 6 pair of electrons in this particular ligand. So each pair will be occupied in the hybridized orbital giving the d2sp3 hybridization. Hence, you will be having the structure of a complex which is octahedral, that is cobalt being the central metal atom, it is combined with it is bonded with, not combined, it is bonded with the 6 amine group. Here the electron is donated. Pair of electron is given to the central metal atom and bonding takes place. So hence this is how the octahedral geometry can be seen. So here the octahedral geometry, low spin complex and diamagnetic in nature. So if the question is asked in your annual examination, so write the VBT concept or explain the VBT concept by means of this complex. If they will ask, please remember you have to write the hybridization, you have to write the structure and you have to write the magnetic property along with this explanation. That will be asked you people for 3 marks. One of this hybridization will be asked in your examination for 3 marks. You have to write this along with, you have to mainly write the 3 points, that is the hybridization, geometry, that is the structure, along with the magnetic nature. So here examine cobalt 3 complex exhibits d2sp3 hybridization and the geometry of this particular compound is octahedral and it exhibits diamagnetic nature because all the electrons are paired up here. There is no unpaired electron, hence it is diamagnetic in nature. So you have to write the ground state electronic configuration, excited state and d2sp3 hybridized orbitals. So 6 ammonia molecules will donate the electron from each of the molecule. Hence the pair of electron will be occupied here, hence the bonding takes place. You have to give so much of information regarding this. All other 3 geometries we will discuss in the next class along with crystal field theory. Thank you.